Once again, welcome back to KTN Scoreline. As you've heard, I did talk to Mr. Kennedy Chege, that is the chairman of Motocross. And Robinson, I'm really looking forward to the national rounds of motocross this year.
Yes, of course, we had the first leg of 2021 last weekend, and we tried to get we tried to get hold of Kennedy Chege, and we could not. But the good thing is you had you had a chance to speak to him, and this is what he had to say about his tenure as the head of the Kenya Motocross Federation, and what we should expect from the emerging stars and already the stars that have made a name for themselves.
It is another beautiful day, especially in the world of sports, and I am joined by the chairman of Motocross Kenya, that is none other than Mr. Kennedy Chege. We are going to be addressing a number of issues in motocross in Kenya, considering we had the COVID-19 pandemic that really crippled sports in the country and also globally throughout 2020. Mr. Chege, thank you so much for creating time to be with us here today. And I just want to know how you feel about the return of motocross, considering COVID really crippled sport last year.
Thank you very much, Shotuna. Thank you for having us on behalf of motocross. Like you rightly put it, COVID has been such a mess to our season for reasons we all understand. However, for us in motocross, other than the fact that our last year's season, 2020, was almost, we had to scrap it off because we only did 2 races. You were supposed to do a total of 75% of the races to make up the season. Unfortunately, because of the COVID, we were only able to do 2 races. However, I think it took quite a lot of courage from most of our parents. They took advantage of the pandemic and got their kids busy at the track. As you know, we have a very expansive track that allows for a lot of space for training, individual training and group training or family training. So that has really helped us, and it has, by hindsight, has helped the motocross group.
Talking about the return of motocross, over the weekend, we had the first round of the national championships. Did it surpass your expectations?
Indeed. It was the first race in like almost a year, and we cannot imagine. We got more than 75 riders. And about 75% of those riders were the lower classes, the Peewees, the 50cc, the 65cc, 85cc, and the rest of the group, which portends a very bright future for the sport in Kenya.
How were the performances? How did the riders perform over the weekend, considering they've just come from a pandemic-stricken year and not much activity was going on? How was their form this time round?
Interestingly, for some reason, they were very, very good. You would think you are doing a final of some kind of a race. We do not have clear leader as of now. We've actually had several changes went through during the heats. We get one person winning then one heat, the next person winning the next heat. But you can see the commitment, the drive, and the courage, the bravery of these guys, and it's really very exciting.
Now, of course, there are COVID-19 protocols to be followed, and this is for all sports in the country. How are you approaching this specific scenario with motocross?
Yeah, I think for motocross we are more advantaged because we have a very big span of land, about 30 acres. It's an open air sport, so really we are not in any enclosed building or such or stadium. So for us, motocross has been very easy to manage in terms of the protocols. Notwithstanding that, we still have our normal protocol measures like temperature taking, hand washing, social distancing, wearing of masks. All of those we take care of, and I think so far so good.
Of course, the bit whereby the sport had to take a break, we all know about that. But was there a much bigger impact on motocross as a sport during that period?
Basically, the whole season was gone, so probably if you had people who were intentions of winning, probably were not able to get that. And given that we are starting a new season, probably Some of them have moved up to other classes, so they were not able to win the previous class, you know. Those are the kind of negative things we get in the sport, but it was all expected and it was all understandable.
What should we expect from motocross this year?
We are becoming bigger. We think the sport will be very, very competitive. We started off with 75 riders this first race. We think we can do more and hope that with the number of measures we are putting in place, we are allowing our veterans to come back. They don't need to pay anything to do it. They come back. We allow them basically as role models to the rest of the riders. It helps keeps them also busy. We have measures like if a family has, say, 3 riders in the motocross, we allow just for waive one fee for one of the riders, just to make it a bit cheaper for them. We have people, you know, coming forward to offer spares. We used to have problems in spares and prices of motorbikes, but now we have 1 or 2 other options people can pick up from, and basically it's becoming a much cheaper sport. With all those things together, I think it can only grow upwards.
Are there any developments on the calendar? We're used to a total of 9 rounds for the national championships. What do we expect this year around? Also, what international competitions are we going to have?
For now, we'll keep our local races to 9. If COVID allows, probably, we'll go to Uganda for the East Africa Championship. If COVID allows as well, we'll end up going to South Africa. I think this year we have the FIM of Africa. If I'm not wrong, it should be in South Africa. We can send a team there.
We have the competitions that we get to interact with other countries. What is the state of the competition in motocross in Kenya?
Judging from what we've experienced in the last couple of years, we've not been badly off. And motocross in international circles is basically about the number of riders you can be able to send out there. Unfortunately, because of costings, maybe flight costs, hotel accommodation, and logistics of getting bikes to those countries, we end up taking very few riders. Those few do very well. Most of the time, they are always under 10 in positions, and which is very good position when it's considering that you're competing with guys like South Africa, Zimbabwe, who have basically grown with motocross from so long ago. So I think if we are able to take more riders, so we will even win the title, can easily win the title.
And you have been in office for some time now. What do you think needs to be worked on to ensure that motocross in Kenya is at the helm of sport in general?
Yeah. Well, you're right. I've been in motocross I've been chairing the team for the last 2 years. Obviously, my term is coming to an end. We normally serve a 2-year term. From what I can say is that motocross needs 1 or 2, 3 things that can be done, partly by the government, maybe. Buying bikes is a bit expensive, and as of now, I think we buy bikes inclusive of taxes, as opposed to the safari rally vehicles where I think they get some waiver. So it makes the bike a bit expensive for those who want to join in, which is a major item, and that applies also to the spare parts that come with it. We have only 1 track, mainly, the Jamhuri race track. We've been promised a track at Kasarani, an alternative track at Kasarani. It's been coming for years. We're still waiting. We hope it comes through. If it does, probably we can do another race there. And that opens up the race to the rest. We have 1 track in Lari that we are planning to do 1 or 2 races this year. So all this will help grow motocross. And I hope the incoming officials, whoever they will be, can take it up from there. Yeah.
Now, still on that, and this is a very critical point, the developmental stage of the sport. What efforts are you putting into ensuring that there is focus directed towards the developmental stage of motocross in Kenya? Because these riders grow and they eventually move over, give space to other young upcoming riders.
Currently, we are encouraging parents. We've deliberately gone out to appeal to most parents to bring in their kids. There's a lot of benefit in motocross for parents because these kids have a lot of energies. And I can tell you for sure, most of the guys in motocross from year 4, because we start at year 4, all the way to 18, 30 to 50 years. But from year 4, if you join motocross at the PV class, all the way to 50, if you become a veteran, you can be sure your kids will be okay. So we are encouraging riders to deliberately come forward, the young riders for that matter, so that we are able, so far so good, because we have more than 75% of our riders in class PV, 50cc, 65cc, 85cc, which means we'll keep them on for another, maybe, assuming they go to year 18, to about year 18. There are things in motocross we really can't help. These kids grow. Some of them grow to A levels. They want to go to universities. They might want to go to universities outside the country. As much as we encourage motocross, we of course know that academics or studies is very important for them. So sometimes we have no choice. We allow them to go. But we allow them to come in and encourage the rest of the riders during their holidays, if they are around. Or if they're done with the universities, they can come in as veterans. And that's why we waive for their cost, because at that time they are adults, and it's not easy to go asking your parents to pay for your fees. So we just allow them to come and play their role as veterans and the role models of the rest of the ride.
On that note, how do you ensure that there is consistency from these riders? Because, as you've said, education is a key factor, and most of them have their classes intertwined with the sport. How do you ensure that they still stay active in the sport, that is to do with training and also participation in these competitions?
Actually, for motocross, it adds value to the studies, by the way. And we have 3 sessions in a week where they can, actually 4 sessions where they can easily come into their track in the evening after classes, normally around 4 o'clock. We have proper security for them. They can come train us for at least 2 hours, 3 times a week, on the weekend. That does not affect their studies a lot. In fact, it helps them because they get some distraction a bit and makes them fresh for the next day. So we've been able to manage that all the time. In fact, if you come to motocross, you'll be surprised at the kind of characters we have there in terms of kids. Very strong in character, very brave, very confident young kids, and you'll be surprised they also do very well in school.
Your term is almost coming to an end. Coming into office, what was your vision, and do you think you have achieved it so far?
Yeah, I would say I've achieved maybe 50–60%. First, our aim basically was to get more riders to the sport and try to shed off the idea that it's an elitist sport, which is not the case. So in that case, we've managed to get all those riders, right from about 20–25 riders when we took up. I can also say we've managed to hold all the sports very well. The last 1 year has been very good for us. We didn't get too many sponsors. We had hoped to get most of those, but I think we can blame the COVID for that. The only downside of it was initially we had thought we can be able to have 2 or 3 races outside Nairobi. We used to have one in Nakuru, but apparently that, for some reason, it didn't work out. We were hoping to have one anywhere else, whoever could volunteer, but it didn't work out. We didn't have enough of time to do that, especially given that we had to deal with COVID cases. So I feel motocross needs to go out to the counties, probably, if we are able to, if the next incoming officials are able to bring us at least 3 or 4 spots outside Nairobi of those races. I think it will be a very good eye-opener to other people who are outside the Nairobi circle, so that we can grow the sport not only here in Nairobi but all over the country.
Do you think going to the counties will also influence motocross in the grassroots?
Yes. We get a lot of support from guys who come over to spectate from places other than Nairobi. And you can feel the urge and the yearning they want. They keep saying we should have this in Nakuru, we should have this in Eldoret. Some people even trying to volunteer land in some of those places for us to do it. Because the main challenge, obviously, for decentralizing motocross is land. You need land, at least 10 acres, 15 acres, so that you're able to put up a track. If we can't get that, then it becomes very difficult to do that. But hopefully, this is something the incoming officials will be able to take up. And in my opinion, I thought I would work with the county government so that we can have some kind of race in those areas. But I think it's something that is workable. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Kennedy Chege, and we are wishing you the best.
Thank you.
With the rest of your time in office.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Of course, that is Mr. Kennedy Chege.